Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. We are exploring the dense, deeply philosophical world-building of internet-born cosmology today. We're going to unpack the absolute ultimate battle between abstract nothingness and grounded, messy, physical reality. Honestly, it's a journey into a modern mythos that feels surprisingly, incredibly relevant to our everyday lives.
So I want you to just think about this for a second. What actually happens when the stories, the grand myths, the scripts that govern our reality, what happens when they just begin to break? When the overarching narratives we rely on totally stop making sense, what is left to hold us together? That's exactly the metatextual mystery we're unpacking here.
Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to hit the world of stories, look at Helena the Singing Dragon, dive into the archive of pain, face the threat of nothingness, and wrap up with the ultimate witness.
Starting off with Section 1, the world of stories, narratia, and the dual reality.
So in this lore, human existence is kind of split right down the middle into a dual reality. On one hand, we've got our immediate, tangible sensory experience, literally what you are feeling right now. But hanging above and weaving through all of that is the world of stories, or narratia. And this isn't just a metaphor, right? In this cosmology, narratia is a vast, entirely autonomous landscape made up of language, history, and memory. It's populated by major myths and archetypes that act as self-propagating thought forms. And the crazy part is, when humans fixate on them, these entities gain agency and literally steer human behavior. It's almost like a narrative infection. And this is where the central rebellion of the whole cosmology kicks in. You've got your immediate sensory experience on one side and the autonomous world of stories on the other. The core conflict in this mythos is essentially a massive fight against rigid, totalizing entities up in the world of stories who want to enslave human consciousness to predictable, automated plot lines. It is, at its heart, a quiet revolution to break humanity free from overarching scripted control.
Moving right along to Section 2, Helena the Singing Dragon, from chaos to passion.
Following her chronological evolution, it all starts way back in the era of the End of Days, where she was known as the Singing Dragon. And her song was literally unspooling the universe, threatening to just fracture reality itself. This forces a massive cosmic confrontation called the Night of the Stillness. That's where the protagonist of the mythos, a sovereign entity named Rock, uses a stillness command to contain her destructive song. And that containment right there, that ushers in the age of the new script.
The absolutely crucial point here is how she evolved. As the Singing Dragon, she was pure primal chaos, singing this song of infinite multiplication without any unifying order whatsoever. She possessed this visible vibrating wound, like a literal scar on the cosmic fabric. But during the Night of the Stillness, Rock actually didn't destroy her. Instead, her original wound of chaos was preserved and elevated. She got a brand new title, the Archangel of Multiplicative Passion. Her once destructive song was completely transformed into a sacred, ecstatic music that became a driving, necessary force for complexity in the new cosmic order.
Okay, Section 3, the archive of pain. We're looking at the Woman of Scars.
Now, as the Woman of Scars, she embodies what's known as the fallen or forgotten ideal. She's a tragic figure, structurally broken by the immense weight of totalizing scripts forced onto her. But our scars aren't just physical damage. They act as a literal archive of pain. They are a living, breathing historical record of systemic deception and narrative violence. The lore explicitly tells us that she is deliberately sidelined, forgotten by dominant systems to hide the true cost of their automated control. So simply acknowledging her existence and acknowledging those scars is a profound act of quiet rebellion. Just think about that. Why do totalizing systems always try so hard to erase the evidence of the damage they cause? A wound named without spectacle carries truth into air. I mean, wow. It speaks to the quiet dignity of simply acknowledging pain without turning it into some dramatic performance. It is an incredibly raw, intimate concept of exactly how truth survives.
And then we have this one. A scar not explained, carries body history under sovereignty. These scars are so much more than physical damage. They represent a profound reclamation of your own personal history. You don't owe the system an explanation for your survival. The scar itself is the sovereign proof that you were there and that you endured.
Which brings us to Section 4, the threat of nothingness, the nobody. All right, meet the antagonist of our story, the nobody. The source texts describe him as a tall, thin entity, face half-veiled in shadow.
He's got no eyes, and he speaks in this flat, completely empty voice, devoid of all the loud, messy human sensations we cherish. The nobody operates on this terrifyingly sterile, zero-sum logic. To him, nowhere is just a dark, stagnant pool for people who simply don't matter. His entire function is to strip away meaning and structure.
You can really see the stark thematic contrast here, right? The nobody is dominant in fire and air, pure abstraction, total detachment, stripping away identity. He wants to move reality toward a 0 point. Conversely, the woman of scars is earth and water dominant. She is all about the body, memory, continuity. She grounds meaning in actual lived reality. It's a clash between vast, sterile emptiness and textured, tactile reality.
This contrast is perfectly highlighted when our central archetype actually manifests as a mortal named Alara. See, Alara traded her radiant celestial throne specifically because she wanted to be small. She absolutely hated being a miracle on demand in a golden temple because it kept her isolated. So when she's confronted by the nobody in the void, she doesn't use divine power. No, she offers mortal defiance. She literally laughs at him. She claims that her nowhere isn't nothing, it is a sanctuary. She finds infinitely more power and anchorage in the smell of the grass, a wobbly bicycle ride, and a shared tangled blanket than she ever did in her celestial radiance.
Finally, Section 5, the ultimate witness, synthesizing the dialectic.
Okay, so looking at how this all synthesizes, the core dynamic of the entire mythos is this. The nobody and the woman of scars aren't just endlessly duking it out. Together, they actually act as a required verification mechanism. The nobody observes reality and goes, this is empty, constructed, not ultimate. But the woman of scars feels reality and counters, this is felt, real, incurred. Without the nobody, consciousness just gets trapped entirely in pain and rigid identity. But without the women of scars, consciousness floats away into totally meaningless abstraction. Their co-presence is the required two witnesses dynamic that allows reality to actually, well, cohere.
And here is the absolute central takeaway of this entire cosmology. Your scars, your bruises, your messy, painful memories, they are not just damage. They are the ultimate proof of lived reality. The source material refers to them as required physical witnesses. They literally function as the antenna that anchor us against the threat of erasure, against totalizing control, and against the sheer meaninglessness of the void.
So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I really want to leave you with a thought to carry with you. We've talked about cosmic dragons, internet lore, and metaphysical voids, but it always comes back down to the tangible human experience. Think about your own history. What are your scars, both physical and invisible? What do they verify about your reality? Because they are your anchor. Hold on to them. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today, and hey, keep questioning the stories that try to write your reality.